Hey there, in this video, I'm going to show you 10 Notion templates to get you started.
So in this video, I will be showing you 10 templates to help you with databases in Notion. But don't worry if that sounds scary because I kept all of these templates very simple. But at the same time, they are still powerful enough for you to do a lot with them. Believe it or not, each template is only one database. I'm going to show you how to take advantage of setting up multiple views to squeeze more out of your databases without using formulas, rollups, or relational databases. Those are all more cool advanced things which I will discuss in a future video, but for today, let's just keep things simple, so go grab some tea. Oh, and there will also be a link in the description below for you to get access to all of these templates so that you can import them into your own workspace for free. All right, let's jump into the first template. So the first template is all about learning. I have 3 different types of things to learn in here. I have courses, books, and articles. And right now we're looking at all 3 of these types in one view, which I like to just label as the everything view, which just lets me know if I want to see everything at once, I want to go back and see what's behind the scenes, and I can just click on that view and see all of this data all together in one place. And in this example, I don't have a lot of things here, so it might not look that bad to you, but as you add more things for each of these categories, it's going to get a little messy and it's going to get a little overwhelming and it's going to get a little hard to differentiate things from one another. So what we can do is create alternate views to show us only the things that we want to see at a given time. So if we go down here and click on the view drop-down menu, as you can see, I have one for each of the types of things we want to learn. So let's click on articles. And for this view, I have it set up as a board. You, of course, could still keep the table view, or if you want to use another view, that's up to you. But in this view, if you notice, the word filter here is blue. It's blue because it's saying to you there is an active filter being used in this view. So for any type, which is one of our columns, is an article. This is sort of like a really simplified formula, which creates a filter, which filters out the courses and books, which only shows you the articles in your database. We're also grouping things by status. And those different statuses are represented by no status, in progress, finished, and paused. So let's hop on over to books. And it's the same thing, basically. It's the same grouping. And we're filtering by books instead of by articles. And you can click on properties here to show or hide different things that you don't want to see. Currently, I only have these 3 things showing. It's kind of redundant to have the status inside the card when you can clearly tell what status it's in. So all you have to do is click right here to toggle that off, and that will go away. And we can still keep the platform in the author, and you can still see those things in the cards. And let's hop on over to courses, the last view of this template. And it's more or less the same. We can go ahead and turn off the status property from showing up in those cards. And just like before, we're filtering to only show courses. And I'm going to hop back over to the everything view. This is a table view. And yeah, everything you saw in those 3 different views, it's all right here. Nothing is hidden, nothing is out of sight. Having a view like this is just a simple way to keep everything together and to prevent any messes from being made, because in some cases you might have every single view in a database using filters and sorting, and you may not realize that those things are turned on, and you might think you're missing things. You might ask yourself, oh, some of this data is missing, did it get deleted? And you might contact Notion support and be like, hey guys, did you delete my data? But to avoid all that confusion and anxiety, just do this, do what I did, keep an everything view. It's just safer that way. All right, let's move on to the next template. So for the second template, we're going to be going over financial things. In this database, I have 5 different types. We have things on our wish list. We have things that we purchased. We have things that we had invested in. We have some monthly bills, and we have a credit card payment. So just like before, this is our everything view. Everything in this table, in this database, can be seen on the screen right now. And it looks a little ugly. It doesn't really look good together. And like I said before, the more you add stuff to this, more things you want to buy, more things that you already bought, and more bills throughout the year, this is going to look pretty ugly. So you're going to want to do what I did in the previous template, which is create multiple views. And you don't have to use any type of fancy relational databases to do this. You could, of course, do that, but if you want to keep things simple and you just want to get started with Notion with a really simple way, then I recommend sticking with this simple technique for now, at least. You can always dive into that more advanced stuff in a future video, which I'll definitely cover in the future. All right, so let's dive into the first view, which is purchase history. And you can see here we have the name, we have the type, the date you purchased it, the month, the year, and the amount you paid. And you might be asking me, well, Jeff, why are you putting the month and the year here or when it's already here? But the reason why is because you can do things like maybe you want to create a view where you only see your purchases that were in June, or maybe you want to create a view where you only see your purchases in the entire year of 2019, or maybe a previous year. So it's nice just to put those things in as you go in case you need them later. And if those things look redundant on screen and they're bothering you, you of course can click here and just toggle them off and remove them from the screen altogether so you don't have to look at them until you actually need them. Let's move on to monthly bills. And just like before, this view is using a filter that is only showing us things with the monthly bill type. And let's dive into the next one, credit cards. We have a credit card payment here, and once again, using a filter that is only showing us that type. Moving right along, let's go to investing. Just like before, same stuff. If you want to get rid of these things, like I said, go on in here and toggle those things off. And the last one here is a little bit different. We're using a gallery for this view. And a gallery view just focuses on showing you image thumbnails instead of text. You, of course, could still have text show up in these boxes, but it looks a lot better with images. All you have to do is add the images to the body right here of the note, and that will show up right here. And to make sure that it does, just click on properties and make sure it says page content right here. And if you're thinking right now, hey Jeff, these things are way too big on the screen, is there any way I can make them smaller? Yes, you definitely can. If you look here, it says card size. Click on that, you can make it medium, and you could also make it small. Super useful if you have a lot of things in this view. And jumping back to everything, that is literally everything in this database that we just saw in separate views. All right, let's move on to the next template. So for this next template, we're going to be discussing things in the entertainment space, specifically TV series and movies. I am going to be doing things a little bit differently in this template, but don't worry, it's definitely not as complicated as it might look. So right now we're in the everything view, and we have some TV shows and some movies, and we have statuses, whether we're watching them or if we finish watching them, and we have the platforms that they're available on, and we also have some tags, and we have some dates here for when we finished watching some things. So let's go to our first view called TV. Now, just like before, this is a really simple board view, just showing you how you could potentially set up a simplified queue system. You can keep track of the things you're watching, things you still need to watch, and the things you've already watched. And right here, we have the filter set to type is TV, and we're grouping by status. Let's move on to the movies view, and it's the same thing. We have a filter for movie, and we're grouping by status. So let's hop on over to anime. Now this is where things get a little bit more creative. Not super complicated, but if you're familiar with anime, you know that there are anime movies and there are anime TV shows. So instead of letting anime have its own third category next to TV and movies, we're actually using a filter in this view to show anything that has the anime tag. Now, if you remember from earlier in the everything view, we were using type to differentiate movies from TV shows. But because, like I said, anime can still be a movie or a TV show, we are actually using tags instead. So for example, here, if I click on properties and I click on type, you now can see which ones are TV shows and which ones are movies. And if you don't want to see that, if that's crowding your view, you can just turn that off. This is just a super easy way to keep track of multiple types of things without having to create a separate database for them, which in my opinion, sometimes is just a little bit too much, and it just adds more bulk to your Notion workspace. So let's move on to Marvel Universe. And if you're like me, I'm a little behind on catching up with my Marvel movies before I can watch the new Avengers movie. So this is another view that just digs a little bit deeper on a specific franchise that you need to get caught up on. Once again, we're using tags for our filter here, anything tagged with Marvel, and we're grouping by status. And at this point, it's kind of crazy that this is all coming from one database. It almost feels like these views are like separate databases, right? But they're not. All this data is coming from this one table, this one database. And I got one more view here to show you. And this is just a simple log for all the things that you watched and the dates that you watched them. These are actually the dates for when I finished watching things. I don't quite remember when I finished watching Cowboy Bebop, as that was quite a long time ago. But yeah, this is a great way to show things based on dates. As you can see, we're sorting by descending order, so that way these dates go in order. And you, of course, can reverse that to ascending. And we're filtering by done. So anything that has the done status is now the filter. So anything that you finish watching will show up in here, TVs and movies, but nothing you're currently watching or nothing that you still need to watch. If you have a lot of things in here, you of course can create separate views for finished TV shows and finished movies. And let's go back to the everything view as always. And yeah, all this data is being used in those views. This is just one database in this template. This is just one database. So hopefully you're starting to see the power with Notion and what you can do with these databases, especially just using one with multiple views. All right, let's move on to the next template. So for this template, we're looking at music, and it's very similar to the last template. I wanted to still show this template though, just to show you what you can do for music. If you're more of a music person, you're not maybe a big TV or movie person. If this looks a little repetitive to you, feel free to skip ahead. There are timestamps in the description below, so you can do so. So on this page right here, we have the everything view, and we have bands, albums, and a show. Now let's move on to the first view. Bands is just showing you all the bands, and we're of course using a filter to do so. And we'll go on to albums. Same thing, we're using a filter to show different albums. And let's go to favorite albums. And what that is doing is we actually have two filters here. We're filtering out the type. We only want to see albums. And any tags that contain the favorite tag. And that's how you get favorite albums. Let's go on to shows. Filtering by show, of course. And let's go to purchase history. And we are filtering by purchase is checked. So if we go back to everything, if these check boxes are checked, it will show up in that view. Alrighty, that's it for music. Let's move on to the next template. So for our next view, we're going to be talking about cooking. And so on the screen here, we have our everything view. We have two different types. We have a recipe and we have a bunch of meals. And of course, we have our status property and our tags property. So let's go to the first view here called Meal Planner. And this could just be a simple way for you to plan your meals with your family or your roommates. And we're filtering by meal type. And we're grouping by status. And the status options are, of course, right here. This week, next week, and done. Let's move on to meal ideas. Now for this view, I'm actually using the list view. It's basically a cleaned up, simplified version of the table view. So yeah, something worth checking out if you want to have a cleaner look to your data. And let's move on to recipes. And we're back to our lovely gallery view here. And inside this page, I have the image, of course. I have a bookmark for the recipe just in case. And I have the ingredients and directions copied and pasted in here. I didn't use the Notion web clipper for this example, but if you do that, it'll look something along the lines like this. And just like before, if you want to shrink those images down, you can do that. Or if you want to make them bigger, you can click on large and make them bigger as well. And let's go back to the everything view. And that is literally everything being shown in those views. All right, let's move on to the next template. So our next template is focused on health. We have three types of data we have sleep, we have fitness, and we have diet. So I just threw some random data in here just to show, for an example, of different types of goals you might want to have to track your health. And so we have different things here, and we have whether we met goals, and we have the dates that we did them. And of course, if you want to add notes, you can add notes as well. And why don't we go to the first view, the diet view, and it's just a simple table just showing you only the diet related items using, of course, our lovely filter here. And let's go to fitness, same as before. We're just filtering out to only show things that are fitness related. And let's go to sleep. And just like before, we are filtering out only things that have that sleep type. Now, this is where things get a little bit more fun. You can actually create a calendar view, which is really convenient when it comes to logging things. And as you can see here, we have those 3 different logged items for those 3 different days shown on those days in this calendar view. And I've even included their types just so you can see which things they're being related to. This could be a great way to show your progress over time. And you might be asking me, well, Jeff, if I keep doing this for the whole entire month, it's going to be hard to look at this screen. Nothing's really going to stand out. And to which I say to you, that is very true, and I agree with you. So what I would encourage doing is going back up here, clicking on properties, and maybe removing the type property and adding another property here that maybe shows when you have a really bad day or a really good day, and you have colors for those things. And that way on your calendar, you will only see those types of things a little bit more separated visually. And let's go back to our lovely everything view. I know we love that view. It's there, it's there for our safety. It's there for our protection. And yeah, all this data is the same exact data that is being shown in all of those views. You can really do a lot with just one database in Notion. All right, let's move on to the next template. So for our next template, we are looking at things medical related. In this database, we have 3 different types. We have issues, we have appointments, and we have medication. So I just threw in some random data in here just to show you, for example, maybe you got some back pain, you're in a lot of pain. You got to take care of that. It's probably better to log when you did that. So right here, you'd put the date that you first started noticing that pain. Maybe you're a little depressed, maybe you have some anxiety. It's good to keep track of your medications, and Notion can definitely help you with that. And let's look at all the different ways we can look at this data inside this one template, this one database. Let's go to the medication view. And as you can see here, we have some medications in a board view, and we're using the filter medication, of course. We're grouping by prescription. Now, if you notice, we're not grouping by status, we're grouping by prescription. That is because if we group by status, we're actually using that for a different view. So the great thing about Notion is you can create multiple, I guess you could call this status number 2, but basically you can create multiple statuses for different types. So each type could potentially have its own status drop-down menu. And so you can really do a lot with just one database in Notion. So yeah, let's click back here, and yeah. And if you didn't want to see this in a board view, you can actually click on these 3 dots right here and click on table, and there's your table view. You're going to have to clean it up a little bit by dragging things around, but not too complicated. And if you want to hide that status, you can just click on here and to get rid of that and get rid of date. And yeah, simple as that. All right, let's move on to issues. We have another board view here, just showing you the issues and their dates that you first experienced them and whether or not they've been resolved. And norovirus is over. I'm glad you got over that. I know you were having a hard time. You had some Chipotle that weekend, and things didn't go well from there. But you're feeling better. Put that here. Put your mind at ease. Put everyone else's mind at ease, your family and whatnot. But some new things pop up. You want to make sure you're on top of that. Let's go to the next view, which is appointments. Now, in this view, we are using the status, not the prescription status, just the regular status. I guess you could call it a scheduling status. And of course, we are filtering to only show appointments. And let's just say this is gone. You saw the doctor, you got some meds, whatnot, got some physical therapy. Just slide that over to the resolve column and you are good to go. And let's go back to, oh, I actually forgot to name this everything. Oh, don't tell anybody. This is not a good look for me. All right, everything. I almost missed that. This is our lovely everything view. And yeah, this is all the data that you saw in all those views. And just like I said before, and I know I'm getting repetitive, you can do a lot in Notion with just one database. All right, let's move on to the next template. So for this template, we're going to be focusing on your home or your apartment. And we have 3 different types. We have things in your inventory, like TVs and gadgets and all that stuff. And we have different times you tested your smoke alarm. And we have different issues and things that need to get repaired. And so, of course, we're in our faithful everything view, but let's go to the inventory view. And so right here, we have a board view just showing you where everything is located in your house and how much each item is worth. And in the previous views, we've been using status. However, in this view, we're grouping by location instead of status. And of course, we're filtering by items in our inventory. So let's go on to issues. And we have a board view here just showing us the status of where those issues stand. And of course, we're filtering by issue. And let's go to, lastly, the smoke alarm log. A little bit different. It's basically just a log showing you when you tested your battery. You, of course, could have a number of logs in this one database. You could log every single time you gave your dog medication, or maybe you just want to track the different types of light bulbs you use around the house. Whatever it is, you can do that all inside this one database, this one template. It'll get the job done for you. Oh, and I almost forgot, if you want to add your own views to these templates, just click right here. And you can pick table, board, calendar, list, or gallery. We've seen all these at this point, and I'm sure Notion is going to add some more views in the future. I think as of right now, they're going to be adding a Gantt chart type of view. But yeah, there'll probably be 10, 15 of these in the next couple of years. But for now, you have these options. And yeah, have fun with it. Go crazy. Whatever works for you. All right, let's move on to the next template. So for this template, we're focusing on automotive. Whether you have a car, a truck, an SUV, or anything in between, this template will help you organize your information around anything in the automotive space. We have 3 different types. We have services, issues, and purchases. And so just like before, we're going to separate these 3 things. Let's go to the first custom view here. We have issues. And yeah, it's just filtering your issues and it's grouping by the status of those issues. So honestly, just a great way to keep track of things that you need to get done for your car. Your car is one of those things that you really got to look after. You really got to play it safe on the road for yourself, for your family, and for the other people on the road. And let's move on to service. And so these are things that you need to get done or you've already gotten done. And we're filtering, of course, by service. And we're grouping by status. But I'm also showing the services tag property here just to show you the things that you got done. So right here, we got registration and inspection, both done on this one day. Whereas right here, we just got an oil change. But who knows, you might get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things done in one session at your mechanic. So it's good to keep track of that stuff. And let's go to the last view here for things you need to purchase or that you've already purchased. Basically, it's a wish list for your car. You know what? Sometimes you got to treat yourself, and sometimes you got to buy things that are just super convenient just to make driving and traveling a little bit easier. And let's go to everything. And yeah, like I said before, I'll say it again. That is literally everything you saw in those separate views. All right, let's move on to the next template. And last but not least, we have a template database here for apps. And as you know, I am pretty obsessed with software. I hope you are too if you're watching this channel. Maybe you are, maybe you just want to learn things. Whatever the case is, it may be good to keep track of the different apps you're testing and the different issues that you have with those apps. So right here we have our everything view as usual, and let's hop on over to active, and this view is just for the apps that you're actively using. Pretty boring. Of course, you could add some more things by clicking this plus icon here. You can add a new column. We can just call it stuff, and yeah, you can just put in whatever you want to do. You of course can click right here and you can change that to a selection, and that's how we've been doing our statuses. And if you just type things in like this, they will be added automatically to that drop-down menu. So when you click right here, they're already there. They're there to reuse. And look, it's that simple. But yeah, just a little something if you want to add some stuff to these templates, customize it a little bit. I'm going to make a video very soon on how to use tables and databases and boards and calendars and all that good stuff. I'm going to go over that in a future video, and I'm also going to be going over it in my Notion course, which will be coming out pretty soon, so you may want to stay on the lookout for that. Follow me on Twitter for updates, and don't forget to sign up for my email list if you don't want to miss that. All right, let's move on to issues. And of course, here we got some apps that we're having problems with. Google Calendar froze. That actually happens to me a lot, maybe every other day. Cough, cough. Waze, every now and then I'll have a server error. It happens. I love Waze, but it does happen. And Evernote, don't tell them I put this in the video, but yeah, they have a lack of features. I didn't actually contact them because, I saw the writing on the wall a long time ago. But yeah, everyone's complaining. Evernote is a little bit behind. And I guess that's why you're watching a video on Notion in the first place. And we're filtering by issues, and we're grouping by status. Same old stuff here. And let's go to testing, and these are the apps you're maybe testing. I, right now, am testing Superhuman. It might be another video. Who knows? Keep on the lookout for that. All right, and let's go to favorites. And I was going to find their logos and app icons to throw in here, but I'm going to use that time for another video so I can give you guys more videos. Just pretend like you can see app icons here. It's a great way to view your favorite apps. Have a little shrine for your appreciation for them. And yeah, back to the everything view. You gotta love apps. Apps are what make the world go around, at least in my world. Let me know if you feel the same way, and let me know if you'd like for me to review any other apps. Feel free to hit me up via email, request@jeffisley.com, or tweet or DM me on Twitter with the app you want me to check out, and I will definitely respond. I'll try to respond within 24 hours if I can. And don't forget, there's a link in the description below to download. Actually, you're not downloading them, but there is a link in the description below to get free access to all 10 of these lovely templates, and they're free. I'm giving them away for free because I like you guys. I like your support, and I just want to help you guys out. I know Notion can be a little daunting. It can be a little rough when starting out. So yeah, check out those free templates. And yeah, let's roll the outro.
So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Before you go, I know you got things you got to do. I know you're busy. I know you got to go play Fortnite after this. However, I got some cool Notion stuff in the works. So if you sign up to my email newsletter list, I'll leave a link down in the description below. You will get access to some cool Notion stuff that will be coming out very soon that I think you might be interested in. So with that said, I will see you in the next video. And until then, stay frosty.